You hear me? Hello? Okay, my bubble is going. Oh, okay, let's try that one more time. Just to make sure, this is now the sound without the mic. Has my mic gone all rusty because of the humidity? That wouldn't surprise me. Now I am with the mic. Can you hear the mic? I am on the mic now. Can you hear me now? Oh, thank you guys. All right. Okay, let me write down a timestamp straight away because awkward. Sorry. And I started off with such enthusiasm, you can't believe it. It is so horrible, so embarrassing. Okay, another timestamp goes in. Audio failed because low budget production. Anyway, hey everybody. It's good to see you. Let me start this again and let me show you what happened today. The orchids were outside after 11, almost 12 days of a hiatus indoors. Oh, it was such a beautiful day. I was very, very busy fussing and preening over them. Oh, I'm so relieved. And maybe we have similar days coming up for at least another 4 to 5 days just to fill their tanks a little bit. New growths are still intact. That was a good and happy sight. Tolumnias are looking abysmal. Whoops, no surprises there then. But anyway, this was amazing. I had to take a picture. I was going to post something on the community post and I thought, nah, for those that show up on the live stream, they get first dibs. Anyway, what I was saying in my enthusiasm and in my silence, talking to myself as you do, but I was saying that welcome to the flight to Madagascar. I appreciate having you on board. It's good to have you. Make sure that you buckle up because Google Earth could be rusty tonight as well. And as we've already experienced, on any flight, there could be turbulences. If the sound does funky things again, which it shouldn't because I am connected by cable, but you never know. If it does funky things again, please let me know in the comments. We'll mute. We'll wait for frames to pick up. If I don't see frames dropping, whatever we do, we will try to get the sound back. So how about we start? Let's load our flight path. Let's get our little show up and running. The plan being, of course, we are going to Madagascar. And in doing so, we are going to start with at least a little bit of an overview, just so that we get in our bearings as to where we are. A good old Indian Ocean, the warmest ocean in my experience I've ever experienced. Well, meanwhile, Gulf of Persia wasn't so bad either. Madagascar, it looks like a Dutch clog. You would think that should be Holland, but at least that's how I always saw it as a child. So, Brea, it's good to have you. Thank you, Sandy, for being here. I hope everybody is nice and warm. Anita, hey. Right, okay. So Madagascar is where we're headed. I would like to go to the main city to begin with, just to get our bearings. But what we could do today, depending on how we get through, Robert, my wingman, nobody is late. The first 10 minutes were me swearing without a microphone. You didn't miss anything. But it's so good to see you. I hope you're doing well from all the way from California. Right, so Madagascar, the clog of clogs out in the Indian Ocean. Now, what I would like to do today is not only show you some orchid pictures that are on the internet, but talk about a little bit about the habitat of where these orchids are. I'm not going to go with the ones that I grow, but I do have some beautiful B-roll that maybe will fit into our stream today, just, eye candy. However, I wanted to go from the perspective of maybe orchids that we don't see a lot of and where they actually come from. The one thing I have to say about Madagascar is not only is it fabulous, yes, well, let me tell you, Sandy, King didn't leave the room, so imagine me on a hot mic thinking I was muted. Don't. But anyway, so what I want to do is try to get through the material that I found on Google, mainly, not just focusing on what I have. Answer any questions about care. If you have any, then you can type them into the chat. You can type my channel name and it'll highlight on my end. Or you can also send a super chat, which will support the orchids, and that will come up in bright colors. But for orientation purposes, clearly we have a north and we have a south. Now, if we go on an excursion here into Madagascar, if it was my personal thing, I would like to go to where the orchids are, see if I can see any out in the wild, and then eventually relax on the most beautiful, most expensive, most exclusive beach resort Madagascar has to offer, if we get to that point. But our destination would be, what I was also saying is the names of Madagascar are just divine. So let's see if we can find, there's Antananarivo. I've been practicing and I've still got it wrong. Antananarivo, okay? That is the capital city right there. Most of the orchids, well, let's just say, you could say that Madagascar has about 10% of its island's flora is orchids. That's a lot. That's impressive. Probably around 1,000 species, and nearly 900 of those are completely endemic. So most of them are known only from a few odd specimens or have been to appear in restricted distributions in very, very small populations. So the assessment, as I could see from the Madagascar website, the assessments organized by conservation projects suggest that as many as 70% of the species are threatened with extinction. But there's not enough data at this point to be able to really, really prove that. It's just a real shame. Robbie in the house. So good to have you here. I make great white noise. I appreciate that you're here. Thank you so, so much. But anyway, and like the rest of the island's wildlife, orchids are found in almost every habitat on the islands, from the mountains to the coasts, having adapted to even the harshest conditions. It's a bit early for me to sleep, Sandy. It's a quarter to 10 here right now. When I do my Saturday or Sunday morning live streams, that's when things get a little bit tricky. But we've made it through those streams so far. Anyway, so when you look at Google Earth, I'm not entirely sure, I don't want to assume anything, but when you look at Google Earth, when we talk about the harshest conditions, obviously the green bits here are lush, beautiful, and tropical forests, and then it goes down towards the coast. Everything up here, which you can see on the outline, everything that looks a little brown and rugged, and if we have time, we're going to go to where the bamboo trees are, and if we have time, we'll also go to the spiny mountains, all this little bit of a sightseeing tour after seeing where the orchids come from. But all this up here is pretty much like a plateau, raised up, away and up and around from the rest of the coastline. So there's drops, pretty heavy drops here, and this is obviously then all it used to be like has a lava kind of limestone mix here, the entire terrain on this side. It's pretty amazing. And our dragon's blood also comes from this island originally. And that's also threatened now because of climate change. There are issues with, the trees surviving. They take hundreds of years to mature to be able to harvest dragon's blood. So yeah, Madagascar is a very, very precious, precious enclave and needs to be protected. So our parks, let me make sure, again, the names. If you want tongue twisters, practice Madagascar names, all right? So the parks we're going to be focusing on where our orchids come from. Let me go back to my notes. I thought I would be knowing this by now. I've been, I've got googly eyes in real terms, Google and googly eyes, just in case you didn't catch the pun. Anyway, we are talking about the Andasibe and Mantadia National Park, right? That should be somewhere down here. And if you hear any growling, that is not my stomach. That is the pups having a little bit of a fight on a large carpet as to that one little space that they all both want to occupy. Stop. Okay, I'm seeing something in the comments. My favorite aquarium plant is native to Madagascar. Madagascar lace plant. That sounds gorgeous. Sounds gorgeous. So let me just type in the Untitled Chapter. When I went there, as was expected, I didn't see many 3D auctions. Ostras. Sorry, that's Balloon expressing his displeasure. Anyway, so here we are. Fa la 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 la, please. Sorry about that. Fa la 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 la, as in Valeriana. Okay, excuse me. All right, I should stop. Sorry, guys. Hey, Misty, it's good to see you. It's so nice. I appreciate seeing you here. Thank you for taking me up on the offer. You are very welcome. It was wonderful to read your email, and well, you keep me posted. Softest heart is what I will be calling you from now on. Otherwise, I'm going to get completely confused. But it is so sweet of you to come. Thank you. Okay, so let me show you our first orchid. Let me get rid of one picture, clear my desk. Where did my first orchid go? Oh, there she is. All right, let me show you before, because now we know pretty much. We'll get a little bit closer into Falala, the Andasiba Montagna National Park. But I want to show you the orchid in question that comes from there, because pretty gorgeous, beautiful. All righty, there she is. Now I can get a bit closer without blowing it out of the picture. Tiny, tiny, tiny bloom. So this is the yellow star thumbnail orchid. That tells you all you need to know about her size. And her real name, well, her botanical name is Angraecoids rhyncoglossum. So you see the notes hopefully underneath the screen after I take my captions away. Boom, there you go. Now you can see the name underneath as well. Isn't that beautiful? And that is a copyright image from Joshua Ralph. Thank you, Joshua, for going out into the boonies of Madagascar to bring us these treasures. And there's another spike with another bud coming down here. I know they want to join in, but hey, it's your turn. Y'all's turn. Okay, so we've got her. Now, in the background, while you just Google eye over that, I'm going to see if I can't get into Valeriana a little bit closer. And then we can see how beautiful and lush everything is. I've got to say that I enjoyed this very much. It refreshed my memory as well. Let me go there and there. Okay. Well, that was a weird transition. Anyway, so here we have Valeriana, beautiful name, and the Andasiba Montagna National Park. As you can see, it just is, lush, but we can also see agriculture all around it. And agriculture is one of the biggest threats to these orchids. The thing is, with the pesticides, everything like that, if they are sprayed too close, if the orchids are there anywhere it carries in the air, it's a real threat. So when we see agriculture next to these beautiful lush forests, well, it's getting smaller and smaller, the space for everybody to co-inhabitate. So let's go and see if our little blue man is going to show up any blue points. And it is very, very sparse on Madagascar in total. Unfortunately, I have found some treasures and I hope I can find them again. So buckle your seatbelts, please. We're going in. Ta-da! Okay, one single picture at this location. I would say somebody took their professional camera out there, because that wouldn't be happening unless you have it on a specific exposure. But look at that canopy. Ooh. So I'm glad that we could at least see this picture. I can try to zoom in a little bit. I don't want to throw us out of the picture by going out. And this is an image taken by Suvarov. All right. But you can see how gorgeous this is. At least this thrills me. It is so amazing and super humid. Okay, so this area has about a humidity of 80–85% when it does rain. It is amazing. And of course, I was trying to see, is that something there? Is that thing an orchid? You know, we're trying to be on a bit of a discovery here. I know it seems a bit silly, but when I see pictures like this, you know, I mean, we do see the ferns. Those are obvious. For me, this is like a yucca. I'm not entirely sure. I can't 100% say, but talk about dense. The density here, all the moss and the lichen on the tree bark and everything gives a really clear impression of these orchids and where they come from, plus a flowing river, creek, stream, whatever you want to call it, but everything is on the move. There's still airflow, even though there's high humidity. So try and recreate this in your own environment. Well, you know, I'll be living there if it works out really well. Usually greenhouses are the best, you know, to be able to keep up this kind of a climate for the orchids that we would like to grow. Having said that, there are some Angraecoids that are super easy to grow, and we don't need to go to these extremes because, whew, tuck in a fern here and there, get some lichen, bring in a stream, bring in a fountain. It would all seem a little bit too much. Imagine being on these rocks. They are super wet. Everything is dripping, and clearly in this image is not raining. So, you know, some are much, much easier to grow than others. Our little yellow star thumbnail orchid that we saw before, I would say it's probably something you don't want to try out of the gate. Some very popular ones are, though, the bigger the Angraecoids are, let's just say from jump as a growth habit, I would say they're a little bit easier to grow than if you go with the miniatures, unless you have a super duper handy dandy, fully controlled environment, also like a glass case. All right, a beautiful case like Robert Forrest has. And then you can get these miniatures and you can dial in their habitat, their preferences without any issues. That's another option as well. Here we have the guides and some people's, which is amazing. I would get completely lost in here. But when we look up and up and up, we've got this amazing canopy. So this is not the only orchid that would be in this environment, but seeing as she was highlighted with that in this environment in her description, I thought this is where we have to go to have a proper look as to see what it takes to grow a tiny little orchid like that and make it thrive. I am not able to recreate this, but when it comes to researching orchids as well, this is something that is super interesting. If you can, go to Google Earth, check the area out, click the 3D little man, try to get to Street View. You'll get little blue dots. Those are either pictures or you get a line and somebody is driven through the area. Madagascar, very, very few blue dots. Anyway, Sandy's Orchid says, Madagascar is beautiful. My brother and sister know. Oh, I am jealousy. I have never been. I mean, I've been to some wonderful places in the world, and I shouldn't be. I'm not complaining, but this is something I probably wouldn't be able, you know, back then I probably wouldn't have appreciated it as much as I would now. There's not much to do on Madagascar as a child if you're not already in tune with nature and want to see all these things up close. Everything is very, very distant, very, very remote. You know, and some facilities themselves are extremely remote. So that would be our Falirana Park right here. Let's see if we can find another blue dot. But before I do that, I can check that out in the background. Let me go and find another orchid that, oh, do we want to see a real close-up of the thumbnail? Can we see a real close-up of this little one, if that's possible? Let me see if I can do it justice by sharing my screen. There we go. Oh, isn't she cute? Look at that spur. It's pretty translucent, isn't it? I think that's awesome. So I'm going to zoom out. In the background, would you hear me clicking, because I'm trying to see if I can find some more little blue dots that we can explore and have a look at. I'm just giving this a little bit of a goo. Valeriana appears to be extremely scarce. There is one dot. Well, at least that gentleman took the picture for us, which was, oh, I found a cluster, peoples. I have found a cluster. And this is the Perinet Andasibe Park, which is very close. I'll show you so that you don't think I am taking it away without keeping you on top of our flight path here. Just want to make sure that we all stick together as a group. We don't want to get lost. Nobody gets lost. So up here, give me that page. Let me grab it. You can see where we just were in there, in the dense jungle there. And then just a little bit further south, we've got Perinet Andasibe. So the same orchids would be growing here as well, but you can already see there's a divide. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of erosion is one of the biggest issues of Madagascar, because sometimes they don't do as much logging there. Environmentalists and the government is extremely on top of their reserves now. They understand the precious climate, let's just say the precious fauna, something like that. They do understand that they have a lot of resources that could benefit them in the future. So they've been very cautious about who gets to do what and about how land is being used up. Anyway, so let's go to the south here. I found a cluster. When it lights up in blue like that, I absolutely love it. My eyes go ding, ding, ding. So let me see. Now that we've seen that part, let me scroll down. Oh, dude. Okay. Your guide should have done her homework a little bit better. Check out this. Okay, there we go. That's how tiny she is. That's our yellow star thumbnail orchid still, Angraecoids rincoglossum. That's a long name. The name is as long as the bloom. Anyway, continuing on, we're going back to, here's another little one. This is probably something that maybe Robert Forrest is familiar with. We've got Angraecoids camaraeanthus. And she comes from the Andasibe, where we are headed right now. Okay, there's many little reserves. So if you see, for example, Maramisaha, that's where this image was taken, but we're going to go to the Andasibe reserve just because our clusters are there and we get a better picture of what we are seeing and where we are seeing it. There she is. Look at that fingerprint. Malagasy white thumbnail orchids. Isn't that cool? She is so tiny. I wouldn't dare buy one of these. I wouldn't dare risk growing one of these. But there you go. There's his finger. It's fantastic. Right, so let's just go and have a look-see as to how the clusters are going to take us to seeing something very special, hopefully. Let's go. Buckle up. We are going in. Today would be nice. Oh, anybody got flight sickness? I can provide a bag. All right, here we are. Another stream. Probably the one that connects to the one up there. No, not necessarily. There's a lot of streams in Madagascar. Now, why I still have a blur there is beyond me. I hope it's nothing private. Maybe it is something private. Maybe it's actually an orchid that they had to blur out so as not to disclose the location. And this, oh, you guys, if you can see it, look on the bottom left of the screen. We've got a little minion. Oh, my friend, the computer isn't on mute. Sorry about that. We have a little minion. Thank you very much to Hendrik Hellberg. And if you just heard that, that's not me shaking my jowls. That was King with his ears. Hendrik Hellberg, courtesy of, was in this location to show us this image, which is awesome. Now we have a little bridge. Look at that. I can just feel the humidity in this space. Bamboo, very popular in this park. You can see all that bamboo thrives on humidity. Meanwhile, some bamboo grows really, really well in my very dry climate as well, but it tends to stay a little bit on the smaller side and gets brown tips on the leaves. Doesn't last for a certain time of the season. Oh, guys, check this out. It doesn't last for a good time of the season being nice, lush, and green. Isn't this pretty? Oh, I could just hear the water. Maybe there's some crickets. Maybe we need to get out the insect repellent. I would like to know what kind of noises are in these kinds of spaces. Do we hear the woo woo, hey, 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 or tick, 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 tick? What kind of noises would be in here? When I see images like this, I'm always trying to think beyond what the image is showing me. So the little minion, Henrik Hellberg, thank you very, very much. Oh, this is infrastructure, people. We have infrastructure. Cobblestones. I see your comment. Robert, I just see you. Okay, so there's one part that doesn't want to show. There's several. Are you going to load? Oh, well, we'll wait for a little bit. I love this. The altitude here in this area would be approximately, I would say, 800, 900 meters. Let me see what that would convert to. If I can type, old hands, let's say 800. That's about 2,624 feet. That's my guesstimate where this image was taken, simply because we are in the deep, lush greenery of that park. All right, we're going to zoom out. Let's see what else we have on offer. The lace plant, I will show that to you. We have a purple terrestrial orchid. We've seen quite a few terrestrial orchids here when we did our little tour of southern Spain. I don't remember seeing this one, but it is a Sinorchis. So purple terrestrial orchid is its name. And from the Andasibe, same thing again, pretty popular. As mentioned earlier, most of these orchids are found in the same elevations all across the entire island. So usually the west coast is more prone to these tropical ones, and then we've got the plateau and upper ones where we can consider terrestrial orchids like the desert, certain desert and sand growing orchids. Oceocladis is very popular in Madagascar as well. Any Oceocladis. Yes. Oh, if we get to the beach, depending on what we're going to do, how we're going to get through this, if everybody's still interested, if we get to the beach, then I can tell you that a helicopter flight to our very exclusive beach resort is $1,200 per person for a 1 hour trip, hour and a half helicopter flight. So, just letting you know that this is a very, very high class and expensive, super duper fancy flight today. Anyway, so here we have a bulbophyllum. It's not in bloom, but this is another example of what the Andasibe has to offer. Looks like it's got a very, very creeping rhizome, but it's not a big one, which is nice. And it can't make up its mind. Is it either going to be bifoliate or unifoliate? That's funny. Look at that. Cool. Love it. Looks chubby and good. Here's another bulbophyllum, also not in bloom. Another one with a creeping rhizome, but it looks to be a different species simply because the pseudobulbs are so much more elongated in comparison to what we see up here. They're a little bit more on the lima bean shape, and this one is a little more on the pea shape size. And here, now, he didn't mention what this could be, but we can see that there has been some mounting going on, which is nice, that people take their orchids and move them in case there is logging, in case there is a fire threat. or what they also do is they do fire trails through the forest, so that if there is a fire, it doesn't jump and spread into the next section. And when they do those kind of loggings, they do remove orchids along their path, and then we can see that this is a clear example of one having been mounted. I would say, now this looks like an Angraecoid to me, but it also has a very interesting feature of being like an epidendrum of sorts. But knowing Madagascar, don't be fooled. Anything that looks like something in Madagascar, think Angraecoid or maybe Orangus or Jumelia, because Jumelia also grow in Madagascar, and I have an arborescens. It's one of my favorite orchids, and if you want an easy grower, Jumelia arborescens is the one for you. Has little Caspar blooms, spooky little blooms. They're so cool. This is one I tried to grow. I tried it 3 times before I had my channel. Pink, sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. Really, really sorry. If I don't mute myself, it's the dogs that make me mute. Goodness me, what a household. Anyway, back to this is what I wanted to grow. I tried 3 times. They're pink Aeonia. It is the cutest little one, and I thought I could get it together with a little cloche type thing and cover it up and let all the roots grow. The warning was out there. It was there. It said very difficult to grow, advanced growers only, high humidity, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, blowing on my nails, rubbing the upper side of my chest. I'm like going, I've got this. Feel so bad. Just because look at how cute this is. It looks like it could be something Oncidium-like, but it's not. It is the cutest thing. And these blooms are also really, really tiny. Okay? I'm not going to get interrupted by the gang constantly. I'm just going to keep moving, and hopefully the noise doesn't come any closer. Sorry about that. So I really wanted this one. Just the green, the little halo, Statue of Liberty kind of thing going on at the top there. But yeah, no, this is definitely something for a case. It's a miniature. These blooms are super tiny. The foliage is tiny, very many aerial roots. It's gorgeous. So something to think about, Robert. Okay, now we're still in the Undersiebe. Oh, here we go. Still in the Undersiebe of the national park we were just in. I'll go back and show some more images. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit closer here, but can you see her right in there? Those are the blooms. And somewhere tucked in, this is not her foliage. She has a lengthy foliage, almost like a Germanianum as well. It's pretty impressive. And we're moving on to the next one, Lemurella pallidiflora. Now, before we do that, let's head back to our natural reserve. Again, the Undersiebe. We're just going to stay there because of our cluster of pretty blue dots that I like. And I hope I don't go for the same one again. There's only one way to find out. Buckle up and let's do this. Okay, that dot I suspect is where we were. Let's go down here. I'm sure there's another little creek down there. Watch me find exactly the same image. I would just say, please don't post twice if you're in Madagascar. Amanda Stewart, thank you very much for this image. I appreciate that you stopped to take a shot of this gorgeous little trekking trail. Look at this. So you can see that we have a lot of dappled light. All right, so we get light through the tree canopies. And if you read that in any care guides, this is what they're talking about. No direct sun, indirect light, dappled light, part shade, all this kind of stuff. And when we talk about dappled, I don't know how specific people think of their terminology when they do care guides when it comes to us researching the orchids that we want. If I were to say dappled light, in my jargon, that includes airflow. Because if there wasn't any kind of movement with the foliage, with the canopy, it would be just bright shade or part sun. But if it's dappled, it means there's back and forth. It goes in and out. And for me, that means airflow. So that's what I think of when I see this. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is like it's just rained, but it hasn't. If it had rained, you would be seeing imprints in the trek here. You don't really see them. This is what humidity does. This is the result of perfect 80% humidity all the time. I am enthralled by these kind of images. So if this bores you, let me know in the comments and I can stop at any moment. We'll go back to looking at orchid pictures, okay? But just check how the terrain just sort of fell off, eroded, exposed a root. But Hakuna Matata will just grow on it and through it. Again, imagine the noise back here. If I could just, let me just see if I can do something. We can add a little bit of a sound back. I don't have bush noises. But yeah, this is, oh, look at that gorgeous tree fern. Or something similar. It's a very skinny one, but something similar. Amazing. And there's a creek down there. As per usual. Right there, I hope you can see that. I think this is awesome. So always let me know in the comments if this is still of interest to you, because I can stop this at any given moment in time. I don't want to bore anybody with anything I'm showing. We can also go to the baobabs, to the beach, to the spiny mountains. All of that is part of our itinerary. And yes, mine too. Mine too, Robbie. It's like, ooh, I light up. Everything just works suddenly so much better. So our itinerary includes all of that. But here we go. This is a tiny Bossers, okay? Yes, nothing to do with me. Unfortunately, no claim to fame at this end. Bossers green thumbnail orchid, Lemurella pallidiflora. Now, Bosser was a horticulturist, a botanist, who eventually then also got the named variety for the Angraecoids sesquipedale variety Bosseri, which I do have in my collection. And that one is currently in bloom. So I wonder, where is my video? Is this where the problem started when I started? Because you know what? I'm going to share it anyway. I'm going to find it because that was my B-roll. I wonder if that's kicked off at the beginning when I started the stream and I was muted while I did the whole host of the stewardess thing. Oh, there's a reason why that was probably not included. So we're going to have a look at mine because, you know, show off. So that is an Angraecoids Bosseri. She would be so much happier, the one on the left. She's a sesquipedale variety Bosseri. So we've got Bossers also showing the little one that he found earlier. But my little one is, let's say, sesquipedale, there's the big one. The variety Bosseri is a smaller one. And then I'm panning over to the right where I've got the Crestwood Tomorrow Star, which is sesquipedale crossed with the Veitchii. So this is a hybrid, but a pretty hybrid. And relatively, let's say, easy to grow. What you need is space, a lot of it. Because if you grow your orchids well, the intention is to get them to grow bigger, and the bigger they get, the bigger their needs become, the more demanding they also become. So I've had mine, both of them now, 4 years. They came as non-blooming size, and it took me 2 years to bloom my Crestwood. I did get 2 spikes in the first time that she bloomed for me, but she also had a lot of light in the grow space the first 2 winters with me. Now, since then, they've been blooming regularly, but only with 1 spike. You know what? Not greedy, considering they come from the outdoors into the indoors as from mid-November or thereabouts, because my night temperatures dropped too low. And then they are from where they were before, quasi in perpetual darkness, and yet they bloom for me. Having said that, let me tell you, there was an advantage and a positive side, although I felt a little bit sad, but I enjoyed it anyway. The fact that it was so dark in my grow space for so long, these were blooming for me at my daytime, but because it was so dark, they thought it was nighttime, and it was just fragrant, fragrant, fragrant. From a distance, you get a beautiful jasmine. So from where I took this image, I can not because of the light on, but I could appreciate jasmine. The closer you get to the bloom, she starts to have the jasmine and adds another layer, and that's a little bit soapy. Becomes very fresh, almost a little bit too pungent for the nose if you're not into a soapy fragrant. I like clean, fresh fragrances, and if they're intense, all the better. I used to stuff intense fragrances like that into my closet, and you open the door and it's like, la, fantastic. So your first note is jasmine. From a distance, get closer. The next layer that then adds to it is a fresh soapiness. And on top of that, if you get even closer, if the soapy part doesn't put you off, you get a little kick of vanilla. It's divine, absolutely divine. Happy sap producer par excellence. I tell you, this doesn't bother me at all, but I was horrified to see that I found a couple of scale on the spurs. That was not a good thing. Anyway, meanwhile, she was treated, but having said that, yeah, watch out for the pests and the bugs, because especially during the winter, they will also appreciate a little bit of that sweet goodness. Now, because of the cold in my grow space, you can see that some of the tips have dried. That happened on day 3, unfortunately. It's a pity. It is what it is, though, and I will be cutting these spikes off prematurely, giving the orchids a rest, something that's going to break my heart. But you know what? We want to see the blooms again, and it's best that they just go. The Crestwood Tomorrow Star, which I'm showing right now, both of the blooms are always, of both of the ones I have, they are super waxy, super sturdy, but there's a very translucent elegance about them. It's almost like you've got something fake. And the fragrance, I can't distinguish a difference between the two. Not one is more powerful than the other, even though the Crestwood has 3 blooms. The Bossery has 2 blooms. It makes no difference. I've tried to move one away to detect a difference. I can't. So if you're into these kind of big orchids, you don't have much space, you might want to dedicate then to say, no, I'm going to do this because it is a labor of love. And we know that Angraecoids don't particularly like their roots to be annoyed. Otherwise, supposedly, they won't bloom for another 5 years. I haven't tested that yet. Maybe this summer of 2023, when they go outside again, I may need to test that theory and see what's happened, because my Crestwood roots are like dreadlocks. And they're getting a little bit unruly. I have an idea of what I want to do when I put them outside, but if it works out, great. If it doesn't, eventually I'm going to have to cut the roots, because when we talk about disturbing roots, we always associate that with repotting, breaking, cracking during repot, damaging belayment, etc. But what about cutting? And I'm not saying cutting them back all the way, but cutting them, let's say, half. Because I always say when it comes to a repot, you want to be able to maintain at least a third, depending on what you're doing with the orchid. But if you're cleaning a root ball, you want to keep a third of the root system intact. And then everything else would work out really well, because a new root system is growing, ideally, on your repot. But Angraecoids, what if you just were to leave a third of the root system intact, not including the pot? I'm not sure. It's not like it's something I want to necessarily find out, but if I have to, watch this space. Anyway, so we've had a look. Let's go back to our bossery. Went on a bit of a tangent there. Pretty tangent. Love. So that's a bossery, and there's Mr. Boss's green thumbnail orchid, the Lemurella pallidiflora. And you're not kidding. Thumbnail, almost. It's a fingernail, it's a pinky nail. I think thumbnail is a very generous size comparison. Isn't that cute though? Oh, I think that's just so adorable. Oh my goodness. It's almost like having a Rapiculus laelia, but in miniature, even though, I mean, a Rapiculus laelia is a miniature, and then you do a miniature of a miniature. It's insane. Look at that. Now that is some serious aperture there. It's awesome. Yes, Ed did do that at one time. I saw him do it, but he kind of, didn't he decapitate? He cut his crestwood or his vetii. He chopped it off and then repotted it. So that's, you know, he reduced the size of the orchid. He didn't just have the orchid intact and then trim the roots, to my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe my memory fails me, Fernanda. I'm not sure. I think he did a chop. So, you know, basically then you kind of know that that's going to take a while to regrow. So we'll see what happens when we go back to the hedge. All right, here we have a furry one, cream single flowering Arangus. I don't see the bloom as such. It could have finished blooming, but the leaves, aren't they cute? I like my Arangus as well. I've yet to see a giant, a big Arangus. Everything that we see in our culture, in our cultivation, the Arangus are always tiny. My Mr. City Eye, it's not necessarily a big orchid. I would consider that, ooh, hello. I would consider that to be a miniature orchid. Okay, he did chop it. Yeah, I thought as much. Yeah. Isn't this adorable? Hello. Look at the intricacy. You would think that it's some kind of an insect in flight. Huh? Look at that. Isn't this wonderful? The most beautiful thing about orchids. I'm going to have to stop my video in the background because we want to get back to it maybe. Anyway, the most beautiful thing about orchids, when you look closely and you see things that maybe it's trying to copy, emulate so that the pollinators will come. I would be like, hey, that looks like a mate. And off I go and zoom right into that and boonk my head against the pollinia. I'm like, whoa, I'm stunned. I'm flopping my wings. I'm like, yo, what was that? Boonk, I've got the pollinia on my head. And then there's another bloom. Yay, look at that. This one, I'm going to get this one. She looks pretty. And boonk, I block my head again. Boom, I leave the pollinia on the next bloom. Done. Isn't that amazing? Oh, sorry. So I got carried away with my little analogy here. Analamazotra bulb orchid. So that's a bulbophyllum. Now, you could have fooled me. But then again, I can't see any motion in the lip. Bulbophyllum analamazotrea. Now, if that doesn't look like a fly, that analogy, the glossiness, I wonder if this lip bounces. There's no distinction there, but look at that. Robert, are you getting ideas? Excuse me, I'm just gonna clear my frog. Look at that. So far, I think only in cultivation we have seen the big orchids. But I am so glad that I found a page that isn't like the run-of-the-mill kind of orchids that we see so much of. This is adorable. And if, you know what? It's got to be 2 blooms. What do you think? 2 blooms back to back, or is this 1 bloom? Where the sepals in the back, you got the petals and the 1 sepal in the top. Let me know what you think. This is 1 bloom. I would have thought it was 2 blooms, but they're very close together. Now that I look at it a little bit more, what do you think of this? I'm convinced now that is actually one bloom. Fantastic. Ooh, green aerial branch orchid, Aranthis ramosa. Ramos. I'm thinking two. That is tiny, right? You're thinking two, Sandy, okay? So, ramo in Spanish is a branch. So there you go. Un ramo. And that is also probably a tiny, tiny orchid. And we're still in the reserve of Andasibe. Joshua Ralph, you know how to take some beautiful images. There we go. That's a spike from up there coming down. Boink. Also somewhat translucent. And here we go. You would not get very far in an orchid show with your plant arriving like this. So what are we fussing about? This is lichen. These aren't bugs. This is not anything that's going to harm the orchid. It looks nasty though, doesn't it? It looks like a real threat. But if you showed up in an orchid show with the orchid looking like that, I was just showing some of the damage that my orchids outside have incurred, and I'm like, oh, boo-hoo. And then you look at this out in nature and you go, we're okay. We're okay. We're doing okay. You see, and there's the spike. And then we've got something happening over here, but that looks more like some kind of a reed stem, a bamboo of sorts. But it wouldn't surprise me if that was an orchid as well. There's an orchid that, there's a Cattleya or a Laelia kind of orchid. I forget the name. It looks like a reed stem and the spike comes out of the top. It's a terrestrial orchid and it goes dormant. It's fantastic. It looks very similar to this. I just wonder what you think of these leaves. I'm fascinated by them. And here we are with just some buds. Here, there's even stuff like bird poop, something here on the spike. And they also incur bud blast out in nature. We're doing okay, guys, with our orchids in cultivation. Come on, we've got to give ourselves a break. And then we have a bulbophyllum. Miniature orchids, I know, Robert. And you know what I was thinking while I was going through this and thinking, is this well worth doing a live stream on? Would people be interested? You know, a little bit of a moment of doubt there. I was thinking that in the past live stream, we were talking about orchid compound, doing an orchid getaway, orchid compound, and everybody migrates there and just cultivates orchids. And it never occurred to me because at the time I was thinking we just need to find the right place. And I think with Madagascar, we found it. We get ourselves an orchid conclave. And anybody who's fed up with the world, hey, if you don't have running water, if you're a little bit off the grid, if you can handle that for the rest of your life, as long as you're there with the orchids, you know, enter, bienvenido. And then we'll all learn Malaguese. How about that? So, when I first saw this, yes, it says bulbophyllum at the bottom, I thought it also looked a little bit like a Dendrobium jenkinsii, something like that. Found it, right? Okay, we've got, at least we've got the longitude and latitude now we need to define. We have sussed out the location, but now we're going to have to zero in on exactly where we want to be. Absolutely. So this little bulbophyllum, just look at it going up the tree like a trooper there. You can see the really old part down here, you know, a little bit desiccated, everything here. Look at the leaves, icky. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of nutrients. Let's call it nutrients, just to be on the sophisticated terminology side of the things. A lot of nutrients on the leaves. And then as she grew up and up and up, beautiful glossy and shiny leaves. Also sometimes a bifoliate and sometimes a unifoliate, from what I can tell. But yeah, look at the spikes as well. Dang. You see, so if you take away the spikes, you block those out. That really has jenkinsii vibes. Or the other one that Fernando grows as well. There's two. One that really hugs, and then the other pseudobulbs. There's another one that goes and it has elongated pseudobulbs, none of them which I've got. Meanwhile, when I was shopping for my collection, I wasn't buying yellows until my daughter reminded me, and then I had already bought all my mounts. And here we have something really cute. This is unknown, but look at it. You know, if it wasn't for the leaves, you would say, yeah, epidendrum. There's another little branch over there. It's not a Germanianum, but this reminds me of the Aeonis that we saw before. It was very similar in growth habit, and I would say it is an Aeonis, if you don't mind. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a rapid scroll up, just so that you know what I'm talking about. Here we go. You see the blooms here? Okay, so we have green and la-di-da, but look at the lips right here. You see the shape of the lip? Okay, jackpot. Let's go. Ding, 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 ding. We're at the casino now. We're doing the orchid. Jackpot right there. You see the lip right here? I would say this is the alba variety, or a variety of the Aeonis as well, because this is exactly what I got. Much, much smaller, of course, but lots and lots of roots coming out, really, really needing and looking for that humidity and somewhere to attach to. Yeah, I bit off a lot more than I could chew there. So I believe that is a similar one, even though it says unknown. I'll let you know, Josh or Ralph. I'll contact you and tell you pretty much what this could be. Oh dear, best of us so much. You see there? Oh, here's me faffing around. You see how similar the shape of the lip is there? Even though we have proper petals and sepals, I think there's a variety thing going on, a little bit of a crossover, a primary hybrid, something like that. And botrytis. It happens to have a little bit of botrytis, and we have a little bit of deformity or something broke off going on here as well. You know, take heart in your private collections. Don't be so hard on yourself. We're doing pretty good. If you're out in nature, this is what you get. All right. So let's go back to our little, zoomed out a little bit. Hello, Angraecoids and more. Thank you so much. Aeonia velucris. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for the heads up on that. I appreciate it a lot. It is good that the Angraecoids and more jumped into this stream. That is awesome. Now, you know what? If you at any point in time want to come up and join in on the conversation, your name stands out. And well, this is about Angraecoids and where they come from, Madagascar. So feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll drop a link, and you're always welcome to hop on and let me know. Let's talk about it. What is your opinion? What do you grow? How do you grow? Have you had any struggles? Any tips that you would like to share with us? It would be amazing. Now, I want to take you to a lake, if I can find it again. Let me just make sure I take you to a lake. Almost. Almost. Close enough. Close enough. Close enough. It's a bit of a grainy picture. Okay. Not everybody. Why is my picture showing up? There we go. Angraecoids and more. I'm talking to you. If you want to come up, you're always welcome to do so. Okay. This is a lake. I didn't mean to zoom out that far, but this is what I was trying to look for. Lake, well, it kind of goes a little bit broader into, and we're going to go down here. But you see the river, the stream. Now I'm going to try and find that dot again. And that's where we're going. So happy. When everything is green on green on green, it's a little bit difficult, but here we are. Okay, so we have a little bit of a bay, a bayou of that stream. There's Vincent, or Vicent, sorry, not Vincent, Vicent. Well, you let me know, I'll drop a link. I can drop a link right now. You can join me on the journey before we go to the Spiny Mountains. When our orchid tour is over, you're welcome to click on that link, hop on up, and we can talk about it. So Vicent, thank you very, very much for this. We have a little bit of an instruction as to what we can see there. There are these lovely people as well. But yeah, canopies. This is the only picture of this area that I could find, but at least we got a nice glimpse into another section of where the river opens up a little bit. I wonder what kind of deformities we have. Not deformities, that's naughty, but what kind of wonderful and weird creatures we have in these waters that we are not known of. This is a conservation place right here. I read up about that, so they're doing conservation and studies and all of that. Let me see if I can take you down to a place that is a little bit more city. Just a city, just to let you know. We'll go to Perinette just now. French, by the way, is the spoken language if you need to. There's a lot of French in Madagascar, which I think is amazing. So here we are in a little town. It's telling me we're in Falirana. I think a lot of places might be called Falirana in Madagascar. But you see, yeah, a little bit of maintenance. This also reminds me a lot of some of the little towns and villages of Kenya. So I wasn't surprised to see this. A little bit of a market right here. You got your local market. Oh, I remember this. When I was babysitting, that's what we did. So it's not exactly Mauritius in this area. This is Vicent again with his lovely friend. There we go. That's the same couple we just saw. So they've been quite busy. Oh, we have satellite, so everything's cool there. But yeah, so you get an idea. And the orchids are in the background right there. Just get an idea of what is going on in the hood. All right, now there was one. I wanted to go to Perinette if I can find that little blue dot, not because there's anything super special, just because I have not been there and I wanted to see if there's anything to see. It was right at the, there it is. I wanted to go in there. I want to see what that is all about. Okay, we have another town. I'm still uploading, so maybe that grid will clear. Cobblestones, wonderful. You see, with everything that I've shown you right now, there are no arrows. We can't drive. It's almost as if, oh, hello, this is our favorite couple of this afternoon for Vicent. It's good that you've been everywhere. You're appreciated. But look at this. Oh. This, if I'm not mistaken, you can always correct me, is a Strelitzia. Unless I've got my botanical name wrong. I've been taking the orchid ninjas to garden centers. I've been learning proper names of houseplants. Sharon has been extremely helpful. For me, everything that looks like this is a bird of paradise. She said, nope, it's a Strelitzia. So there we go. This is also wonderful to see these palm trees. Tropical Plant Party has a lot of these. Also, well, trying to grow them indoors. It's fantastic. Oh, hello. There we go. That's probably the whole conservation area of the national park that we were just at. But just to give you an idea, that is what it looks like down there. It's brilliant. Now, you see, it would be nice for this to have a little blue dot, but we can't go there. So I've been through the orchids that I've seen. I just want to, because I'm nosy, explore a little bit more and ask your opinion if I should continue exploring. I would like to see if we can go a little bit further south. Oh, that's a blue roof. It's not a blue dot. You see, it's a blue roof. No wonder it wouldn't let me go there. But you see, I am on Street View. I want to go into Street View and I should be seeing blue lines, which means a car has driven there. And nope, it has not. Let's see if Vicent and his wonderful friend, is he going to take us there? There's a blue dot. Is it just a trick? You see, it doesn't work. So this is how remote everything is on Madagascar. In one reserve, 1 dot. We have a cluster right here because there were little towns closer by. And then if we go out even more, it doesn't get better. So the national parks are pretty much everything that you see in dark green. Antananarivo has more, it's the capital city. But I did want to take you to the Spiny Mountains if I can find them again. Dang, they were hard to find. I want this dot. Are you going to let me? Or do I have to zoom in? Because this is a ridge. Okay, right here is a ridge and it's a drop off to the right. It won't let me. Okay, we're going to go out and we're going to go into 3D. Just to see if we can see the contours of the ridge at all, anything. I don't know if you can detect it. I don't know if you can recognize that there are elevation differences. There's a valley right here, and everything then just drops off to the sea. So we've got a lot of rivers. Here's one that actually goes through and in. Let me do that again. See if we zoom out a little bit more. I hope I'm not making anybody ill. And I'm going to check my notes just to make sure I don't get ahead of myself or forget anything. Because if we're going to move on, then I need to see the names. So we also have Angraecoids, Modesta grows there, and Caudata also grows in the parks that we have just seen. I think those are quite familiar names. I don't grow a Modesta and I don't grow a Caudata, but I do believe that those are extremely familiar names. Now we're going to go to another special reserve. At least that's what they call it in Madagascar, a special reserve. Analaamazaotra. They love their A's and their N's in Madagascar. I would love to know how the language actually sounds. I should have done my homework on that. But I was going down rabbit holes with my picture searching. That's my excuse. So Alama, you can't just, oh, it's a hotel. Oh, we'll go there. Because if we see a hotel, why am I not surprised? We're back at Perinet. Because this is what they would consider another reserve. So oh, okay, there we go. I was focusing on Ndasibe, and then Angraecoids is right next to it. Okay, so we've been there and we've done that. So is one Angraecum better or easier to grow than the other, or maybe they're not all from Madagascar? Now, the majority of the ones that we grow are from Madagascar, Sandy. Whether they came out of meristem cultivation or they came from, let's say, seed, deflast, etc., which way. And to be honest with you, some even are gathered from the wild. Yeah. Now, the United States won't accept any kind of orchids that come into without the CITES and the proper certification, etc. But yeah, you've got orchid hunters in Madagascar going out and finding them, taking them out, and then they do the paperwork and they get sent to the world. Now, I don't know how Europe is with regards to these. I have never seen anything that is actually advertised as in these were gathered from the wild on any of the European nursery web pages, but in the United States they will make you aware that they have been gathered from the wild. I find that the bigger the Angraecoids are, the easier they are to grow. However, in my opinion, there is the Mysticidi. It's very easy to grow. I have that in leca and semi-hydro, and it took to it without any issues. Is a reliable bloomer. Doesn't need much light. Doesn't take up a lot of space. I find that one easy to grow. I've heard that Angraecoids are also super easy to grow, and well, I've had my difficulties with them, but I'll take that because my temperatures don't stay warm enough for them, so I've even not managed to bloom any of the ones that I've had. Now I only have one left. I'd be very careful about that. Arangus fastuosa I find is extremely forgiving. It's been a reliable bloomer for me for the past years, even while it's tiny, tiny, tiny. It's probably happier on a mount. I'm not growing it on a mount for reasons of the fact that I'm hoping the orchid will get bigger and I cannot accommodate its high humidity requirement, which is now much more understandable after seeing those dripping forests that we were just in. So I've put it into a pot, keeping it aerated, but it's not doing very well. It's objecting with root growth. So I'm going to have to assess that and look at it a little bit more closer. Meanwhile, I haven't done that because my conditions aren't conducive to what I should be doing. It's growing a new leaf. So if you can provide for a miniature Angraecoid, if you can provide the right environment, let's say high humidity, shade, especially humidity, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Now, we can say that with many other orchids, but especially with the little ones, they do need their high humidity to be happy. The bigger ones are much more forgiving. So if you've got space coming up and you want yourself an Angraecoid, don't worry about getting one of the ones that can grow pretty sizable. Jomelias are beautiful to grow as well. They're not as demanding. They come from Madagascar. They are not as demanding as what I just mentioned with a fastuosa or with a leones. And they're just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. They stay compact, they grow well, they are reliable bloomers. And in my dry climate, that says something right there. So what I'm going to do now, if you guys want to come with me, we're going to go to Morondawa, if that is all right with you. And I want you to see the land of the baobabs. So we've done our orchid excursion and the trip has now moved onto a little bit of sightseeing. And I appreciate your company if you are interested to join me and check out the land of the baobabs. Okay, let's go there. And let me see if I can find that one stretch, which is called Baobab Alley. I don't exactly remember an airport close by, but you know what? It's been a while since I've been to the land of the baobabs. Let's see what my Google is going to show me. Give me a moment here. Let's go there. Let me just be a little bit more specific. Baobab Avenue. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, dang, I wasn't down there. I just got lost with my flight path. I'm extremely sorry. Okay, we're going here to Baobab Avenue. Now, this is interesting. This had me a little bit confused. And I did say that Blue Lines is a road. I was super excited that we can just go through baobabs and have a look at these enormous trees that are also dwindling away here. But I don't know how they did this or who did this and with what technology, but this is not something we can drive through. So let's just go down and have a look. Yeah. A little helicopter, buckle up. Can we just stop and stare and gawk and weep with joy, amazement, and respect? Look at this. Baobab Avenue, you are welcome. Now, what I want to do, and because we saw the blue line, is move forward. Click. That I have got no arrows giving me any pointers that I can do that, because I want to get in there in between the two. But you see, this is what I found so amazing. Either indigenous people planted these like that, okay, because you can see them off into the landscape as well, right there. Or what on earth why we've got one in the distance there. There's nothing back here. Okay, and then here we got an itty bitty one. Okay, whatever. And then, hello, booyah. So back in the day, when they created a settlement, and I'm not even going to say this is a settlement as such anymore, but they wouldn't log their baobab. The fruit here, it's not exactly delicious, but it's very good to work with. And then all of a sudden you get this. It's like they've been planted on purpose, left to right. I don't know. I love it. I just love this. These are not the baobabs that I have in Kenya. Okay, and our baobabs in Kenya, they were very thick trunked with a huge canopy. This is a completely different kind of baobab. And no, not because they've let these grow and the Kenyan ones were, no, it's a different variety. It's awesome. All right, because I can't zoom in, move further, I'm going to try and use that blue strip. So you can, whoops, let me just take that away. Let me show you. You can see the shadows right here. Yeah, that's our baobabs. This might have been a lake one day. Couche de soleil allée baobab. So I guess here's like a little sun pocket. Couche de soleil. I went into the blue dot right here, but it's a huge family like cheese picture. Oh, it's not. Hang on a second. One of them is. There we go. That's the one I meant. Hello, cheese. Hey, it's Vicente again. This is the Vicente that's been showing all the images that we've been looking at. You've been around. This is the kind of trip I'm thinking if I were to organize and plan my Madagascar trip, this is what I would be doing. And I'm not just going to do it in a couple of hours. I'll be there for a couple of weeks. But yeah, thank you, Vicente. It's awesome, awesome photography. So they're here around this area. Oh, couche de soleil, it's the sunset. Ah, so this is where you stand. Oh, because of the vista. Duh, click. You know, think it through, Nina. You speak the language. Couche is sleeping. Duh. Coucher. Male. Oh, no, that. Anyway, never mind. I'm getting confused now. Anyway, so this is the sunset. I can see what they did there with the name. Fantastic. Anyway, so there's that. So you have to stand there. That's why they have the scenic photography. Vicente knows his places. And then, if I could, oh, I don't want to turn this and get lost. Anyway, you can see all the shadows. Let's go and see if we can find another vantage point. Let's see. I haven't ventured this far out. It's also called Paketsingi. Okay, a bit more grainy. I'm sorry about the quality. John Mickle, hello, it's good to see you. The best whites. Hi, it's good to see you from San Diego. Good morning, or good afternoon. Oh, it's good afternoon. It's good to have you. Thank you so much for being here. This image comes from Yeti Yetu. Look at that road. That reminds me of Kenya as well. We're still in Baobab Avenue. Oh, somebody was using a special lens. Isn't that amazing? I don't know about you guys. Stop me. Please stop me. I'm very happy to change our itinerary if you get bored with these kind of things. But it also shows the diversity of Madagascar. It's not all rainforest dripping in humidity. We are in pretty dry. I'm not saying dry as in my kind of dry of 30%, but we are now a little bit more into the 50%, 60% humidity, okay? We come out of the dripping rainforest, not exactly not humid, but definitely a little bit more pleasant, I would say. Wow. Yeah, so my daughter is letting me use her camera. That's another thing. That's why I'm a bit googly-eyed as well, because I have been studying her camera. I mean, I've got my little DJI Osmo Pocket, which is fantastic, but seeing as I'm about to need a magnifying glass to see what is going on with that little thing and whether it's in focus or not. And if I can, you see, the thing is that when I scream, not scream, I could scream sometimes, but anyway, when I stream, it's pitch black here. All right, but today I did connect it to the computer. The computer is now talking to the camera, and I could have a fabulous webcam. That is up and running. I don't see the point of doing that at this point in time, though, because I'm sitting in the dark. Okay, so my next step is to figure out, because you see, the thing is that I'm not exactly camera shy, but this is an orchid channel, and I do not by any way, shape, or form look better on camera than my orchids do, okay? There's been a lot more damage than just cold damage. I mean, 56 years of damage. But anyway, having said that, if there were to be, if I can live stream once we are outside and it's warm enough, I can sit outside, I don't see why I can't, if I can, connect her camera to, let's say, a mobile phone. We'll see, don't know. I mean, the mobile phone has its own camera as well, but it'll help me maybe, I don't know, I'm working on it. I'm trying to be a little bit more flexible. Don't want anybody to think I'm just like here talking in the dark through a bubble, but there's really no point. If I put the light on, I wake up my cockatoo. We don't want that. Cockatoos are very grumpy if they don't get 12 hours of sleep, at least. Okay, so now I'm going to try and keep you entertained with my Angraecoids while I find my personal Angraecoids, that is, while I find the spiny mountains. I had real difficulty finding them on my own, even though I was doing whatever they told me I should do. I had a really hard time, so I don't want to bore you with that. I shall keep talking to you, and I'm going to be looking at the chat in the meantime as well. But while I try to find them again in the background, and no, if you're going to say, why didn't you put location pins on there? It's because I haven't downloaded Google Earth onto my system. I cannot put location pins unless I download it. And I don't want to download anything onto my computer that takes up memory. I need it to work fast, efficiently. I've got hard drives that look like a flippin' library because I want to keep my computer clean. And that is the only reason. So I do apologize that I don't pin these things. All right, if I were, for example, to maybe, let's see if this can take off and whatever, and I don't make such a bumbling fool of myself, then it is possible that we may need to go to the download route, but I can't bog down my system. Okay, my little one's playing. Check my comments. Okay, now I'm going to find the spiny mountains for us because I've found some images, because we're moving up towards the north of the island. And let me tell you something, if we get to the spiny mountains, I'll take you on a flight to the most exclusive, the most perfect, bestest beach resort in Madagascar. And as far as I'm concerned, possibly in the world. Meanwhile, I haven't been there to make that judgment, but, it looks pretty nice. I think for now, the Dubai has them beat, but what do I know? I've only been to Dubai. I have not been to Madagascar. Okay, so I found the spiny mountains. The thing is, though, as with everything in Madagascar, that place doesn't have any blue dots. So if we go to the resort, we'll go to a web page, we'll have a look, and we'll just pretend we're right there enjoying our excursion. Okay? So bear with me, please, while I'm hunting for these little places. Let me go back to my notes because I did take notes. Okay. I'm not going back into a town because the spiny mountains are not in a town. Okay, I see that you left a comment. I'll be right with you. Let me get this right. If I type in the wrong name, I'm going to fly you to my home because they're very similar. Bemaraha. Okay, let's try that. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, just make sure. Let me just see if I've got dots there. I'm telling you, this was tough to find. I put a blanket over his cage, too, as a matter of fact, because his cage is so big, you'd think he was a macaw. He's not a macaw, but he's got a cage for a macaw. He could fly in his cage if he wants to. But no, I have to put two. I have 2 sheets, like bed sheets, to cover him up, Sandy's orchids. Ho, 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 ho! Please tip your guide. Let's go. I did it. I did it, by George. She's got it. All right, all right, all right. Let me go. Oh, can you see? Can you see? I don't want to whack myself. Let me see if I can, boom, get rid of me. Now I know the mistake I made. Let me pause my video. Let's go down. Spiny mountains, peoples. No joke, okay? Thank you to Marco Toschetti for this image. I appreciate it very much. Let's go. Look at this. You can see the peoples for contrast on the left. Now, I want to go to the web page and I want to see if I can read about these things because this is fabulous. It's made for another fabulous rabbit hole. No orchids here, peoples. Absolutely no orchids, but okay, so this is called the rock forests of Tsingy de Bemaraha. The sheer effort in climbing the forest to the canopy and the reward of the scenic wonder at the top make an exciting adventure and an unforgettable memory. All right. So I'm not going to take you to a video on YouTube because I don't want to get a copyright strike. I will show you the webpage though, because we can see some more images and get more impressions. If I can't get the impression from this, check this out. You come up this rickety staircase weaving through the rock formations. Let me make sure I'm not boring anybody here. Checking my comments and see if nobody's on snooze mode. Okay. If you're on snooze mode, I appreciate that you haven't said anything yet, but let me know. You can see how razor sharp these are. This is no joke, people. You don't want to fall. Look at that. Wow. Okay. So we've got the impression there. All right. It's a heritage site, UNESCO World Heritage Site. The alien-looking geological characteristics and the endemism of the organisms that have survived in harsh conditions both contribute to this designation as a valued and protected site. The Tsingy rock forests are unique geological formations only found in Madagascar. It is the largest of such formations at around 85,000 hectares in size. There's more in Madagascar, but this specific area is the largest. Okay, you can find them like the gray Tsingy down, like, as they say, more north. Okay, we're upside down. More north in Ankarana, whatever, we're right now in Bemaraha. Okay, now I want to just read through. I'm not going to leave you with a picture. I'm taking you to the webpage because some people don't like being read to, and I get that. So what I'm going to do is share the webpage, which also shows more pictures. And I wish I could zoom in further. I hope you can see that. I'm gonna knock us down. There we go. I hope you can see that. So the Tsingy, we've got that. It's a formation of limestone rocks. It's called a forest despite the scant vegetation that is found there due to the appearance of tall rock pinnacles rising from the ground. The formation of the Tsingy began some 200 million years ago when layers of calcite at the bottom of a lagoon formed a thick limestone bed. Later, tectonic activity elevated the limestone, and as sea levels fell during the Pleistocene Ice Age, even more of the limestone was exposed. No longer underwater, the ancient sediments were carved by monsoon rains, which washed softer rocks away and left tougher rocks standing. Meanwhile, groundwater carved caves below the surface, and as caves' ceilings gave way, canyons formed between rocky towers. In Malagasy, Singi means where one cannot walk barefoot. You're not kidding. And truly so, it is impossible to traverse the Singi without substantial assistance. The rocks can be very sharp, and the pinnacles make it very difficult to find footholds. Dang, you guys, isn't this amazing? Am I the only one here? Isn't it? Oh, I tell you. Trippy is right, Robert. I mean, I don't know. I would love to go to a place like this, but I don't think I would be capable anymore. I mean, my hip will just say, not today. Not even on a day, just during a day, like, not now, boom. And I'm like, ding, you know, I don't necessarily fall because I catch myself, but it's close. Okay, so walking in the canyons and ground gives no idea of its structure and the scale, so a climb to the canopy is required. Okay, I'll see you. I'll stay with the refreshments down here. Tell me all about it. Bring pictures. You know what I mean? That would be. However, the pinnacles are narrow and long with extremely sharp edges, which we can appreciate. Hence, the climb will always be steep and difficult. There's basic assistance in the form of steps, which are crude, cut into the rocks. In addition, there are mandatory body harnesses that need to be hooked to hooks and wire supports at different stages of the climb. All this means that if you are very scared of heights, or if you're not in good physical condition, holla, this destination is not meant for you. Having said this, in our group we had a 9-year-old and a 66-year-old. Both managed the adventure with flying colors. Okay, I'm 56. Yikes. Oh, wow. I mean, a 9-year-old is, strap him on my back, but you know, those were the days. Look at that hanging bridge. Oh, I love things like this. This is things like where Avatar or Disneyland get their whole inspiration from. So the desolate, rugged and barren look of the Singi from the top can be quite deceptive. It may appear that this region is bereft of fauna and flora. The surprise is that the crevices and canyons of the Singi host a spectacular array of animals and vegetation. Not only this, most of the species found here are endemic. Of course, if this is the only place in the world that has these kind of formations and it is unique, no surprise that the species are endemic. 85% of the species found here are not found anywhere else in the world. That makes us sense. Furthermore, 47% are exclusive to a particular area of the massif. Wow. Nearly 400 species, mammals, birds, etc. are listed in the park, and no less than 900 native plants of the island grow here. Deciduous dry forest to vast grassland, bushes and wooden climbers abound in myriad locations. We got lemur, bird species, endemic amphibian and 17 reptile species. Here's a cactus. Oh, I can click on them. Coolio, I didn't know that. Oh my. What do we got here? Western red forest. Rat. Can you see the rat? Oop, she's very difficult to see. I almost missed it. Ooh, it's one of those with the long tails. It's almost like one of those desert rats. They have very long tails. It's endemic to Singi and they are endangered. Oh, here we go. And then right at the bottom, when you pass and go through all these trails and you come out the other side, there's the gift shop and you get these little guys in teddy format. At least that's with every attraction at Disney or SeaWorld or whatever. You do whatever attraction, you come out at the gift shop. Justin's Orchids, it's good to see you. Hi. Madagascar is an island lost in time. Yes, a lot of the plants and trees are so unique. Evolution has taken its own course on that special island. It's home to some very unique orchids, absolutely. Very unique ecosystems with plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth. Definitely, yes. So yeah, please stop by the gift shop on your way out. Here we've got a ring-tailed Montsera. Hello. It also has a little bit of a look of a Tasmanian devil on it and a bit of red panda to it. Too cute. Well, he's probably not cute when you come too close to him, but yeah. So we have the Petit Singi here. That's a little bit of the rock formation. You can do a canoe ride. We're not going to go on the canoe today. Sorry about that. Limestone stalactites and stalagmite formations. And what do we have here? And here's tribal funeral sites. Okay, bless them. Paradise Pool. Now this would be probably, instead of the gift shop, this would be the place to be right afterwards, after you've done what you've done. But what we're going to do, instead of all that, is I'm going to find ourselves, no, don't close that out, we're going to need that. Let's go back to, oh, sorry, I didn't stop sharing before I minimize the screen. Let's go and see if we have, hello. Gimme. All right, so now that we know all that, we've had a little bit of a, whoa, get bonked out, sorry about that. Now I can at least identify, you can see the rock formations, the greenery in the valleys, the rock formations as you go up. That makes a lot of sense visually now. And we will see there's another dot next to each other right there. Are there any more? Let's go and check this one out. Pretty impressive. Jimmy Lee, thank you so very much for this image, for leaving it here for us. I have a feeling, please don't tell me what I think I'm thinking. Can you see how this has been eroded? And these in the back haven't? Can you see that? I have a feeling that some people took the dare from the bridge, the walkway, to hop along and get to this point. I can just imagine that there's a certain group of people that does that. I'm not saying I would. Here we go, there's some more. Pretty eroded. Wow. You can see the distance and the landscape. Okay, right. Now that we've probably gotten to this point, maybe you would like to just hang out on the beach with me for a while. And in order to do that, I have to get the helicopter pilot ready, up and running. Trust me, if you want to stick around and see this place, it is worth it. It is well worth it. So let me get myself organized here, because not only am I going to fly you there, but I'm going to show you around. Come on. Sorry about that. Okay, we are going to the beach. Let me get myself organized. Seeing as this is a luxury trip, I want to make sure that we do it right, that we find our location very quickly, that you don't have to wait for your ride. Now, the cute thing about Madagascar is obviously in their language, bit by bit. When I was looking into all of this, it took me a couple of days. I was having fun. I was having fun in the dark, and everything was above board. I was still having fun in the dark. But I figured out that nosy means something like island. I haven't double checked. I'm just going to go on a wild guess, okay? So we are going to go to the tippy north because we need to catch our helicopter, and I'm going to make sure that I check my notes. Let me go up to, let me find you. I'm going to go to time and tide. I know that Princess Eugenie was on her honeymoon there. So that's pretty much what we can gather. Okay, can you stop, please? All right, then don't stop. Okay, pause. I want to have first dibs. Okay, Okay, what we're gonna do, sorry about that, guys. Just making sure that I don't have you waiting on a hot runway. Doesn't matter. We don't have to be that specific. I was going to be very, very pedantic on this one, but no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste your time. Okay. Right, so we're at the north. We've gone pretty much from the south of the island to the north. We didn't go all the way down to the heel, but this is the northern tip of the island. The only thing I probably ever saw when I was traveling to Mauritius, which is down in the corner over here somewhere, not this, but further down, was probably the tip here through the binoculars. That's as close as I got to Madagascar ever. By the way, tectonic motions, no, not in the Comores. Mayotte, no. There are tectonic motions on the islands down here. Okay, maybe Mayotte? No, that's too far north. There's an island. There's islands in between. You see this? What's going on here? There have been eruptions underwater, under the sea eruptions, volcanic eruptions over here. It's a busy place at the moment when it comes to something. So there's a shift in the Earth's crust there. Everybody's not really, let's say, concerned, but they are being very observant, because if there's anything that's going to happen, it could cause a tsunami. And yeah, so that was about 2 or 3 months ago. So they're watching very closely that area. Anyway, we are going to Time and Tide. It is one of the most exclusive places that I know of, and it let's just say per person $13,000 a night, but you get yourself a villa of 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom, 3 bedrooms, and you have your own butler. You get yourself a golf buggy to be able to go around the island. However, the helicopter flight is not included. That'll give you another $1,200 per person, half price, $800 around about for a child, and any child under the age of 12 is free, however, by booking only and first being approved of the timing. All right, so from the north, somewhere here, there's an airport. I was going to be very specific, but never mind. You can get to down here 2 ways. 30-minute flight, which is a little bit cheaper, but you're landing at an airport that is only serviced by domestic flights, and they will cancel those flights on you without any notice, and you can be at your airport waiting to get to your airport up here in Madagascar, and your flight has been canceled. You don't know when you're going to get there. Not a good thing. So that flight will be only 30 minutes. However, if you go a little further north to the airport, which isn't just serviced by domestic flights, you are guaranteed to arrive on time, your incoming flight, and then your personal helicopter from the resort is waiting for you and takes you from the aircraft to the helicopter, and off you go. And what you do is you fly from the north, and they take you the scenic route to the island. It is one magnificent island. There's a lot of things that you can do on this island, and one of them is that resort. And if this is going to be a nuisance for me, I'm going straight to the webpage, which is what I'm going to do right now. I'm not messing about. I want to go to the beach. I don't know about you, but I want to go to the beach. Let me go here. There we go. We're going to accept the cookies, because bring me the cookies when it comes to a place like this. Okay, so here we are. That would be your villa. That would be your pool. You can do things if you want to. And that's your helicopter coming in. That was me. Oh, we've been there. There you go. Your friendly butler. How about that then? Huh? $13,000 a night. Not too shabby. Okay, so I'm going to try and get out of this. and show it to you. Escape the ordinary. Oh, goodness me. Oh, goodness me. This reminds me in some areas of Mauritius, except that, you know, we went to Ile de Surf in Mauritius and it was all pretty and la-di-da. But this is next level. This is insanity and it's beyond beautiful in my eyes. And why not have a look, seeing as we have web pages to take us there. So you see the island is there all by itself. And if I can find on the web page, when are we flying out, Nina? Yeah, I know that people were talking about the lottery because they wanted a solarium. You know what? If I hit the lottery and it can include my channel, we are going on a road trip. You know, like I said, I'll stay with the refreshment in the Singi, in the Spiny Mountains. I don't have to be doing everything, just so long as I'm in that environment. But yeah, I would love to. I would love to. And you know, honestly, the problem is I would probably want to find a job, not necessarily working at this resort, but because I wouldn't want to leave Madagascar. I have a feeling that if I step foot on Madagascar, it would have to be my forever home somehow. I don't know. I've never been. I don't know, but it's just a feeling since I've been. Look, I used to research my orchids to a T, all right? And then I used Google Earth, and I'm doing what I'm doing with you now. That's what I did back then. I immersed myself in looking up orchids and how they live, this, that, and the other. Never in my life have I ever felt so close to a place where I've never been to before except Madagascar. And put this aside, take this image away because everybody can say, yeah, I can see why. But even that little village that we just visited and had, you know, had a little bit of insight. We saw the market. Yeah, I could do that. I absolutely can do that. I would have no problem whatsoever. And, you know, if that means dodgy Wi-Fi, then, you know, I don't know. I can't even let my mind go there because I know it's an impossibility. But yeah. So you can have your villa here. Everything, even the helicopter, is white and turquoise. So you can see that is their theme color. All right. So, you know, I'm not going to make an inquiry. I don't dare do that. But yeah, make sure you put your mosquito nets down. You must need those. These are very fancy mosquito nets. In Kenya, we just had a mosquito net from the ceiling and it was wrapped up and then rolled into a long, like a spaghetti roll and tied into a knot. That was the mosquito net. This is a canopy. This is like, oh, you know, I love mosquito nets around a bed. Even if I don't have mosquitoes, I love it. It just makes me feel, yeah, my muscle memory remembers all of that. So if you want, we can explore some private villas. I'm very shocked about this grainy picture. I mean, come on, for real. Yes, it's windy, but hello, you know. I would like to see a little bit more of the villas because when I visited this web page during a look around, I wanted to see the architecture and I saw some amazing images. And I hope that this is the images. Oh, you get a floor plan. I didn't see that. But yeah, you have an outdoor shower space as well. Al fresco, love showering al fresco. It's divine. So you have a 1-bedroom. And then you have another 1-bedroom. This is a 3-bedroom. Oh, 3-bedroom is the whole thing. So you have the single villas. I get it. Okay. You can have the 1 deluxe villa. 620 square meters. Children's bedroom. That's awesome. Okay, so if you then rent the whole compound, you make it a 3-bedroom thing. Okay. Look at that. And you get your golf buggy right there, and you get a dune buggy. All right. Not just the golf buggy to take you around the resort, around the island, and explore everything. 3,400 per person. Okay. So I don't know what, I guess I must have looked at the high end of everything to get to 13,000. That's per person. Okay, cruise cycles and electric buggy, everything like that. Everything's included, your personal butler, all meals, accommodation, drinks, selected drinks, okay? Not selected, you got to take that into consideration. You can get complimentary yoga sessions. I don't think I need yoga if I'm in a place like that. But this is the island off the east coast of Madagascar. Okay. So it just doesn't. There's a helicopter landing pad. I believe it's over here. It's right there by the beach. And then there's a little buggy that takes you. There's another resort on Madagascar where you are met with cocktails and refreshments and something else as you land by the helicopter. I'm not sure it's this place though. But I mean, how is it possible that, oh my goodness, you couldn't have made that a little bit more? Ah, here we go. Here's the map. You see? Nosy Bay. Miavana. Nosy Bay is also a wonderful place. There's a beautiful resort there as well, but seeing as there is a national airport, it's quite noisy. So what I was talking about, you want to make sure you go to an airport that is served internationally, and it takes a little bit longer. So I got it wrong. The Nosy Bay is the international, the Diego Suarez is the national. So there was a difference. If you come here, you're okay with your flight. Getting to Diego Suarez from a domestic flight is probably going to cause you some delays, even though the helicopter flight is cheaper. So just be aware, okay? International flights, they will take you. You got the Air Mauritius, and there was one, Kenya Airways, of course. Please. Of course, we're everywhere. The snob. Listen to me, the snob. What I wanted to actually do is not just show the villas, adventures. I'm a bit disappointed by these pictures though. But yeah, there's the helicopter. There you go. Every trip with a helicopter will cost you. If you want to go to the mainland or do something, it'll always cost you. It's not included in your room rate. You have been warned. So yeah, I don't know if you would like me to continue showing a place where I'm starting to get chest pains because I've got a yearning. True story. I've got chest pains. Something is hurting. Something is hurting. Are we going to? Thank you. Anyway, yeah, something is hurting. I guess, yeah, the yearning. Yearning is a good word. Sandy's Orchid says that's the kind of place my brother and sister-in-law stayed in when they were working there. Oh, fantastic. Maybe next time they should come as a guest and just explain, share their experiences. That would be awesome. But anyway, if you have any questions, oh my goodness, we've been going 2 hours? You are kidding me again? How am I going to cut these streams short? Anyway, I can't believe this. Okay, right. I want to say thank you. That takes us through Madagascar for the time being. What I can think of. Question is, what else can I think of? I've got our next destination lined up, but I do have to spend some time looking into it further so that I don't waste your time. I hope that the 2 hours flew by. I mean, they did for me, but I'm sat here jibber-jabbering. I appreciate if you've been here. I know it's like, time flies when you're having fun. I was having fun again. I'm sorry that I took, oh, well, never mind. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you. Your support is amazing. And well, all I can say now is have yourselves a fabulous rest of your 16th of February or 17th if you're just waking up. On one condition though, please, that you stay safe. Take care. Bye.